Okay. Okay, we need to get that. They're asking, so we can give them to them today. All right, we're on the record on State versus Loyd. Mr. Loyd's present with his attorneys. Mr. Loyd remains in custody. He's wearing a long-sleeve black button-down civilian shirt. He has civilian pants on. He's wearing jail shoes and shackles, but his feet are underneath the table and cannot be seen by the jury from any angle in the courtroom. Anything we need to address before I bring the jury in?
Would the court mind, I want to do like a sound check if possible of one of the exhibits.
I actually think it's a good idea, since this did not go well last time. Is it on?
It should, the video is on.
Okay. I have all the mics turned on in the courtroom.
Okay.
So.
Sound works.
Might be a little bit loud, but here, let me try it again. Go ahead.
Is that okay?
That's a good sound, yeah. Okay,
Thank you, Your Honor.
sure. Okay. Get this taken care of. Yes, this is the one. So, and use November 13th, which is a Saturday, as the expected to conclude on or about. That'll give them plenty of time. Okay.
Thank you.
Your caps, right? All caps? Yeah. No, I meant the trial. You can't read my mind? No. All right. In another couple of days. Okay, everybody ready to go? State, you have witnesses?
We do, Your Honor. You ask if there are any issues. I would like to address something with the court at sidebar. I've already spoken to Mr. Lindeman about it.
Come on up. Anything else from either side? All right, let's bring the jury in.
No, Your Honor.
Thanks. We got him? Yes. Okay. We're missing a juror? Oh, okay, no problem. I was going to say, how did we lose a juror? Okay. All right. Good morning. Oh, hope everything went okay. I get updates about the hotel, so I'm watching all of you. Let me go over something with you all. The instructions that are read to you are standard jury instructions. They're used in every case. They're Florida Supreme Court standard jury instructions. And they don't always cover sequestered juries. So this one's on me. When I read you the instruction yesterday about being able to use your cell phones on recesses, that's a standard jury instruction. I spoke this morning with the Sheriff's Department, and I know I told you all that. The problem that we have is the rules of sequestration and cell phones. Sheriff's Department, like everyone else, is underfunded and understaffed here at the courthouse. We don't have enough deputies right now to handle that and all the procedure that has to be gone through to give you your cell phones to use during recesses. If that's going to cause an extreme problem for someone, please let the deputies know, and they'll let me know. But we just don't have enough deputies to do what we need to do. If at any point we can fix that, we will. We're aware of it. I apologize. It didn't even occur to me, to be honest with you. So for right now, you won't be getting your cell phones at a break, but if there's a problem, let the deputies know, all right? Thanks. Okay, both sides have done their openings. We're ready to begin the evidentiary portion of the case. State, you may call your first witness.
Your Honor, the state calls Detective Brian Savelli.
Folks, because of this courtroom and the acoustics, if at any time you cannot hear a witness, please raise your hand as soon as you can't hear them and let us know, including if it's just the question. Raise your hand and let us know if you can't hear them.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
You may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, sir. Could you please tell us your full name and spell your last name for the record?
Yes, sir. Brian Savelli, Savelli.
Make sure you speak into that microphone, Detective, because I can barely hear you and I'm right here, okay?
Yes, sir.
Where are you currently employed, sir?
Orange County Sheriff's Office.
And how long have you been employed with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
14 and a half years.
To what unit or division within the Orange County Sheriff's Office are you currently assigned?
I'm in the Homicide Unit.
How long have you been a member of the Homicide Unit for the Sheriff's Office?
Since January of 2016, 5.5 years.
Could you briefly walk us through your positions at the Sheriff's Office prior to you joining Homicide, starting with your earliest experience and ending the one just before you joined that unit, please?
Sure. So I started in just about June of 2007. I was hired by the Sheriff's Office to go to the Basic Law Enforcement Academy. Upon completion from the academy, I started road patrol just like any other recruit. I was in uniform patrol for 5 years. And then from uniform patrol, I joined a violent crimes unit. And in that capacity, I investigated robberies and crimes against persons. I was there for 3 years. And then from that unit, I joined the Homicide Unit, where I am currently.
So, Detective, I'd now like to take you back to the night of December 13th of 2016. Were you employed and on duty as a member of the Homicide Unit that night?
Yes, sir.
And based upon the timeline you just gave us, it sounds like you'd been a member of the Homicide Unit for just under a year at that point. Is that accurate?
That is accurate, yes.
Before that night, do you recall approximately how many homicide investigations you had conducted?
I believe that was my 7th.
Now, did you receive a phone call around 9 p.m. that night asking you to respond to a scene at 6031 Long Peak Drive?
Yes.
And who was the alleged victim of the homicide that you respond to?
Miss Sade Dixon.
Did you, in fact, respond to the scene that night?
Yes, I did.
And without saying what anybody told you, did you interview witnesses that evening?
Yes.
Late that night or early on the morning of the 14th, did you ask a judge to sign a warrant for the arrest of the suspect in that homicide?
Yes, sir.
And did the judge, in fact, sign the warrant?
Yes, he did.
And can you tell us the name of the individual who the warrant was issued for?
Markeith Loyd.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness of what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit A? It has been shown to counsel.
You may.
Detective Savelli, I'm handing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit A. Could you take a look at it and tell me if you recognize it, please?
Yes, sir.
And what do you recognize State's Exhibit A to be?
This is the arrest warrant that we just discussed.
The one for Markeith Loyd?
Yes, sir.
For the murder of Sade Dixon?
That is correct.
Your Honor, at this time, we'd ask the court to admit State's Exhibit A as State's 1.
Any objections? No. This will be admitted without objections as State's Exhibit Number 1.
Your Honor, permission to publish State's Exhibit 1 to the jurors?
Granted. Are all of the jurors' screens on? Okay.
This last one, Judge, right here is not working at all, black.
The last screen is not on?
That's correct.
Is the one next to it on?
This one's completely,
That one's not working, but the rest of them are?
yes.
Does every juror have a screen they can see? All right, great. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, in general terms, Detective, can you tell the members of the jury what an arrest warrant is?
An arrest warrant is a warrant issued by the judge that signs it, and it gives law enforcement the authority to make an arrest of that individual.
Is the fact that an arrest warrant has been issued for an individual broadcasted or distributed to members in law enforcement in any way?
Yes, it is.
And can you tell the members of the jury how other members of law enforcement are made aware of an arrest warrant for an individual?
Well, one, it's entered into NCIC, FCIC, so anytime a deputy runs an individual, they'll be able to see that they have a warrant. Also, in-house, we will broadcast the warrants. We will also send out an email to the entire sheriff's office, something called a bulletin, and that will broadcast the arrest warrant.
Now, you just used an acronym that probably flew over everybody's head.
Yeah.
NCIC, is that a database?
Yeah, it's a database, so anytime that law enforcement runs any individual, it's a Florida state database as well as a national database that runs driver's license and history checks for individuals.
And does the Orange County Sheriff's Office have any specialized units that focus on apprehending individuals who have current arrest warrants?
Yes, we do.
And what's the name of that unit?
The felony squad is what we call it.
The efforts we just described, distribution within a house, notification of the felony squad, were those efforts or distribution undertaken as far as the warrant for Markeith Loyd?
Yes, it was.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, Detective.
Good afternoon, sir.
You are actually with the Orange County Sheriff's Department, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that is a county police unit that covers different parts of Orange County, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, the Orlando Police Department is a separate department, is that right?
That is correct, yes.
However, when a warrant is issued, you had mentioned in-house warrants and NCIC. That information is put in some kind of form, electronic form, and broadcast to all departments, including the Orlando Police Department, correct?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay. And so for them to get that information, they would have to input something to pull it up. Is that correct?
For other agencies aside from the sheriff's office?
Yes.
No, sir.
Well, if an officer is calling in and asking about a certain person, they're not going to have a hard copy in front of them, the dispatchers, correct?
That's correct. Are you talking about as if an officer that is just, he or she is just alone with the radio?
Yes.
Yes, they would not have a hard copy in front of them unless they were in their car, possibly in front of a computer or something along that line.
Right, but when they're calling into their dispatch, the dispatch doesn't have a hard copy in front of them.
That is correct, yes. We would
Okay.
have to switch over to another unit or radio channel called teletype.
So for them to obtain that information, they have to take some affirmative action, correct?
Yeah, so just a regular officer, they may not know unless they have some prior knowledge before that time.
And what would the dispatch have to do if they were given a name and told that this person is supposedly wanted for murder? What would the dispatcher have to do to verify that?
Well, the dispatcher that a law enforcement officer will just communicate with is different than an operator that will run a name for an officer. So for instance, if an officer is out with somebody and we're just talking to our dispatch channel, they're responsible for a lot of officers. So the officer or deputy, and I'm only speaking for the Orange County Sheriff's Office just because that's what I'm familiar with. A deputy would then have to switch over to another channel called teletype, where then we will inquire the name, the date of birth, and stuff like that. But just the regular dispatcher that we talk to day to day may not have that information to run somebody.
So it takes additional steps by the dispatcher to get that information and confirm it?
For the Orange County Sheriff's Office, that's what I'm familiar with, yes.
Okay. And you're not familiar with the way that the Orlando Police Department works?
That is correct.
Okay. Those are all the questions I have, Judge.
Thank you. Redirect.
No, Your Honor.
May this witness be excused.
He is excused, but he's not released.
All right. Detective, you're free to go now. You are not released from your subpoena. You're subject to recall.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. You may call your next witness.
State calls Takeshia Bryant.
The solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, ma'am.
You can have a seat, ma'am. You may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, ma'am. Could you please tell us your full name and spell your last name?
It's Takeshia Bryant. T-A-K, you said my last name, sorry. B-R-Y-A-N-T.
Okay. And Ms. Bryant, in what city do you currently live in?
Orlando.
And how long have you lived in Orlando?
All my life.
Are you employed currently?
Yes.
You don't need to tell me where, but what is your profession?
I'm a second grade teacher.
Now, Ms. Bryant, do you have a cousin named LaCarsha Robinson?
Yes, sir.
At some point back in January of 2017, was your cousin LaCarsha Robinson married?
Yes, sir.
Do you know the person that she was married to back in January of 2017?
Yes, sir.
And what was that person's name?
Markeith Loyd.
Now, prior to the incident that we're here to talk about today, had you ever met Markeith Loyd in person?
No, sir.
Had you spoken to him face-to-face at any point prior to that day?
No, sir.
Despite not meeting him, did you know what he looked like?
Yes, sir.
And how was it that you knew what he looked like?
Facebook.
So when you say Facebook, had you seen still photographs of him on Facebook?
Yes, and videos.
And videos. And were at least some of those photographs in the context of his marriage to your cousin?
Yes, sir.
Did he have any distinctive markings or characteristic that made him easily identifiable to you?
A scar on his lip.
All right. And I should have reminded you, but just make sure you say yes or no. 'Cause
sorry.
That's okay. Everybody does it. All right. So he had a scar on his lip.
Yes.
Did you become aware in late 2016, early 2017, that Markeith Loyd was wanted by law enforcement?
Yes, sir.
How did you become aware of that?
From the news.
When you say news, newspaper, television, Facebook, where?
All of those.
All of those?
Yes.
All right. And did they show pictures of Mr. Loyd?
Yes, sir.
And did you know what he was wanted for allegedly doing?
Yes, sir.
And what was your knowledge of what he was wanted for?
For murdering his pregnant girlfriend. Or ex-girlfriend.
And did you have all of this information, what he looked like, the characteristics, and what he was wanted for prior to the morning of January 9th of 2017?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember that January 9th day?
Yes, sir.
Now, where were you around 7 a.m. on the morning of January 9th, 2017?
I was on at Walmart, sorry.
Okay, and do you know what road or intersection that Walmart is near?
Princeton.
Okay, had you ever been in that Walmart before?
Yes, sir.
Now, why had you gone to the Walmart that particular morning?
To get a coat for my daughter.
Was your daughter with you?
No, sir.
Right. Was anyone with you?
Yes, sir.
Who was with you in the car as you went to the Walmart?
My son and my nephew.
Okay. Now, you said a daughter for your coat. Why would you be doing that early in the morning on a weekday?
We were getting ready for school, and it was cold outside, and I
Okay.
couldn't find her coat at home.
Now, you referred to him as your nephew, one of the kids who was with you. Is he your actual nephew or a friend of the
sir,
family?
Just, me and his mom are just really good friends.
Okay.
Yes.
Were you taking them to school?
Yes, sir.
So, did both of the boys go inside the Walmart with you, or can you describe who went with you?
Just my nephew went inside, and my son stayed in the car.
All right. How old was your nephew at the time?
Oh, I want to say Messiah maybe about, maybe about 8,
All right.
7 or 8.
So younger.
Yes,
Were you able to get into the store and shop for a jacket?
yes, sir.
Did you find it rather quickly?
Very quickly.
And what did you do after you got the jacket that you were looking for?
After I got the jacket, I went to the register to check out.
Now, do you remember where in relation to the exit to the store the register was?
Yes, very close to the exit.
Now, may I approach the witness of what's been marked as State's Exhibit B? It has been shown to defense counsel.
You may.
Ms. Bryant, I'm going to show you State's Exhibit B.
Okay.
It's a diagram. Do you recognize what's depicted in the diagram?
Yes, sir.
And what is generally depicted in the diagram?
I see where I came in at. Oh, goodness. And the registers.
Well, let's back up. Does this look like the entrance to the Walmart store on Princeton?
Yes, sir.
And I think you said you do see the register where you were at?
Yes, sir.
And do you also see the entry and exit to the store that you came in and out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does this diagram, based upon your view in the store, fairly and accurately represent the way it looked back in 2017?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, at this time, we'd ask the court to admit State's Exhibit B as State's 2.
Any objection?
Can I see one more time, please? No objection.
All right, this will be admitted as State's Exhibit Number 2 without objection.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, Ms. Bryant, you said that the register was near the entrance?
Yes, sir.
May I stand here, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
So, do you remember the number of the register? I mean, you can look again, you can, that's fine.
Number 2.
Okay? Register number 2 was where you were. And can you show us up here? Okay, and where were the doors that you entered and exited to the store from?
Right here.
Okay. So this right here, is that a long hallway or an alleyway?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
So, and I interrupted you. You got to the register near the entry to the store. What happened when you got to the register,
The light was on, but the clerk was not there.
right? So what did you decide to do?
I went to customer service to ask basically where the clerk was because the light was on, but no one was there to check me out.
When you went to customer service, were you able to identify or make contact with somebody from the store?
Yes,
An employee?
yes.
And what happened when you spoke to an employee? Without saying what they said, where did you go?
Back to the register.
All right. Now, after this day, but prior to your testimony here today, have you had an opportunity to review video surveillance from inside the Walmart store from that morning?
Yes, sir.
And were you able to identify both yourself and your nephew on that video surveillance?
Yes, sir.
And did the video surveillance fairly and accurately depict your actions and movement around the store on the morning of January 9th?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Bryant, is that screen on right next to you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
Ms. Bryan, I'm going to hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit C. It's a disc that you look at, and if you need to open it up, that's fine. And once you've done that, can you tell me if you recognize it?
Yes, sir.
And how do you recognize State's Exhibit C?
I initialed it.
All right, have you looked at the contents of that disc?
Yes, sir.
What's on that disc?
Myself, I guess everything that happened at Walmart, myself, my nephew,
Is it a video?
yes.
All right, and does the video fairly and accurately depict your movements around the store?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can I have a moment, Judge?
You may.
Ms. Bryant, did I also show you some still photograph images from the video that show specifically you and your nephew walking from the register to customer service?
Yes, sir.
Thanks, sir. Your Honor, may I approach the witness of what's been marked as State's Exhibit D as in Delta and shown to counsel?
You may.
Ms. Brown, I'm going to show you State's Exhibit D. It's a composite of 8 photographs. Please look at each one individually and tell me when you've had a chance to do that.
Okay. I'm done.
Do you recognize the 8 photographs I showed you?
Yes, sir.
And do they depict both you and your nephew walking through the Walmart store?
Yes, sir.
Do they appear to fairly and accurately show you as you walked on that day?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, at this time, we'd ask the court to admit State's Exhibit D as State's 3.
Any objections?
No objection.
All right, thank you. All right, the court, without objection, this will be admitted as composite exhibit number 3 for the state. It consists of 8 photographs. Are they stamped or bait stamped, numbered in any way, Mr. Williams?
They're numbered individually, yes,
On the
Judge.
back, all right. From 1 through 8.
Permission to publish State's Exhibit 3, Your Honor?
Granted.
So, Ms. Bryant, can you see the screen in front of you?
Yes, sir.
There should be some photographs. The photographs I just showed you pop up on the screen, and I may ask you some questions about them, okay?
Okay.
I know I'm having a hard time seeing you because I'm not that tall,
sure.
but if you need to see me, just look up. There you go. All right, in photograph number 1 of State's Exhibit 3, There are two individuals. Do you see the two individuals in the picture?
Yes, sir.
And who are they?
Myself and my nephew.
It looks like, are you on the left or the right?
I'm on my left.
Your left. And what is that in your hand?
A coat.
Okay? Where in relation to you in this photograph is register 2 that you started out? Behind or in front of you?
Behind me.
All right, and where is customer service?
In front of me.
Okay? That's a similar image. Your nephew has the bright white shoes on, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now we're looking at photograph number 3, but before I ask you some more questions about that, we're gonna take a break and I'm gonna talk to you a little bit more.
Okay.
So I think you told us that you went from customer service and then went back to the register, is that right?
Yes.
All right, when you left the register to go to customer service, were you the only person at that register?
Yes.
When you got back to register 2, what did you see?
A line had formed.
Right? Did you see the person that was in the front of that line?
Yes, sir.
And did you recognize that person?
Not at that time.
All right? When did you come to recognize that individual?
When I spoke to him to let him know that I wasn't skipping the line, that the cashier wasn't there, and I went to get her.
So you come back with the cashier. Did you speak to that person right away?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did he respond to you?
Yes, he did.
What did he say?
I can't remember word for word, but I know he let me know that it was okay when I told him that I didn't skip the line.
Do you remember what that, was that person white, black, or Hispanic?
Black,
Can you describe his general build?
big,
All right.
and tall.
You remember what he was wearing, generally, if not specifically?
Yes.
Can you tell us, please?
A black shirt, and it had security writing on it in white.
Okay. Do you remember if he had anything on his head?
A skull cap.
You said that after you spoke to him, you recognized him. Who did you recognize the person at the register to be?
To be Markeith Loyd.
And how was it that you knew it was Markeith Loyd when you spoke to him?
When he began to talk.
Did you recognize the voice?
Yes, sir.
And what did you recognize it from?
Facebook.
Were there any distinctive markings that you recognized when you looked at him up close?
Yes, a scar.
The same one you mentioned earlier.
Yes, sir.
Do you see the person that you know as Markeith Loyd in the courtroom here today?
Yes, sir.
And could you please point to him and describe an article of his clothing?
Mr. Loyd is over there with the black shirt on.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Now, a moment ago, you described him as big.
Yes.
Were you, and I should have asked you this, how far away from him when you were having this conversation were you?
Very close.
From where you and the court reporter were?
Yes.
All right. He was significantly taller than you, is that fair? Did you notice or think you noticed anything about his build or underneath his shirt?
Yes, it looked big. Like, I described it before like it was a lot of clothes or like a bulletproof vest.
All right. And you saw that all when you first spoke to him?
When I looked to speak to him, yes, sir.
Now, when you realized it was Mr. Loyd, what thought went through your mind?
I needed to get to the police officer I had just saw.
Okay. So before that, you had seen a police officer in the Walmart, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Where did you see the police officer?
While I was at customer service, she was leaving out of the store.
Right. You said she, it was a female?
Yes, sir.
Was the officer black, white, or Hispanic?
Black.
How did you know that this black female was a police officer?
Because she was in police uniform.
Like police uniform, badge, insignia on the side, all that?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt in your mind she was a police officer?
No, sir.
So where did you said when you were leaving customer service, you saw her. Where was she headed as you were walking back to the register?
She was going to exit the store, going back towards the register that I was about to go back to, if it makes sense.
Do you recall seeing a police officer's vehicle when you first arrived?
Yes, sir.
And where was the vehicle that you saw the police vehicle when you first arrived?
It was parked at the front of the store.
Now, I described it as a police vehicle and you agreed with me. Was it marked, insignia on the side?
Yes, sir.
Lights and sirens on, or lights at least on top?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt it was a police vehicle?
No, sir.
All right. So you said that you knew you needed to get to her. So now we're going to go back to the photographs. Do you see them on the screen?
Yes, sir.
And I'm currently publishing photograph number 3 of State's Exhibit 3. Where can you see a cart in the photograph? Is that right?
Yes.
Did you see the person that was in control of that cart?
Yes, sir.
And who was that?
Markeith Loyd.
All right. And is that your nephew back there again with the white shoes?
Yes, sir.
You said you spoke to him. Does that picture show you speaking to him?
Yes, sir.
And that's 4 of State's Exhibit 3. Now publishing State's Exhibit 5 of State's 5 of 3. You described a security shirt. Does that look like the same shirt that you saw he was wearing that day?
Yes, sir.
Now at this point, you had already left the register, correct?
Yes, sir.
And now I'm publishing 6 of State's 3. A moment ago, you told us that you saw Lieutenant Clayton as you were walking out. Can you see Lieutenant Clayton in the photograph, which is now publishing 7 of State's 3?
Yes, sir.
And where is she in relation to you in the photo?
In front of me.
Was she pushing a cart?
Yes, sir.
Publishing 8 of State's 3. Okay, so when you were checking out, were you nervous?
Yes, sir.
Did your feeling cause you to make a mistake?
Yes, sir.
What did you do?
I put my PIN number in wrong.
When the checkout was complete, did you bolt out of the store?
No, sir.
Tell us, if you can, how it was that you left the register and where you went.
I calmly walked until I made it to the doors and ran when I got out past the doors
Why did you walk until you got to the door?
because I didn't want Mr. Loyd to know that I recognized him.
Okay, so you get to the front doors and you said you ran. Which direction did you run when you came out of the doors?
To my right.
Is that the same direction that you believe the police vehicle to be in?
Yes, sir.
Now, you described the black female police officer. Prior to that day, had you ever seen her before?
No, sir.
You run to her vehicle. Where was she in relation to the vehicle? Inside, outside, what was she doing?
Outside loading her bags into her vehicle.
All right. Was your nephew still with you?
Yes, sir.
What did you tell her when you got to the vehicle?
I told her that Markeith Loyd was in the store.
Now, I know it's hard, okay, but I need you to speak up because I can barely hear. You told her Markeith Loyd was in the store. Did you give her any additional information?
Yes, sir.
What did you tell her?
That he was wanted for murdering his pregnant girlfriend.
Did you see or hear Lieutenant Clayton react in any way to that information?
Yes, sir.
What did she do?
She called in on her radio.
For help? Or could you hear what let me ask a better question. Could you hear what she was saying?
Yes, I can't tell you word for word, but she was calling in, and I did hear her.
Objection, speculation.
Overruled. Okay.
Go ahead.
She was calling in to find out, if the information that I was telling her was true, if it makes sense.
Okay. How long would you say that your interaction with this officer lasted?
Briefly, not too long,
Less than a minute?
maybe more than a minute.
Okay, a little more than a minute? Where did you go after you relayed this information to the officer?
I was trying to walk back to my vehicle.
And did you see where the officer went?
Yes, sir.
Where did she go?
To the entrance of the door of the store.
Now, your vehicle, where was it located in relation to the store?
Leaving out, it was parked to the right in the parking lot.
And I think you said your son was in the vehicle.
Yes, sir.
Were you able to get to your vehicle and inside prior to hearing something else?
No, sir.
Right? So you walk back to your vehicle. Can you describe for us what it was that got your attention?
As I was walking back to my vehicle, Miss Clayton had asked me what Mr. Loyd was wearing.
Okay, so you started to walk to your vehicle and she stopped you,
Yes,
and she asked you for his clothing.
yes,
Did you give her the information?
yes, I did.
All right, what happened next?
She called me again because someone else came out because I couldn't remember. At that time, I just said he had on a skull cap. So then when she asked, someone else came out just before he did, was it him? I said no, and I screamed back and told her he had on the black shirt with the security writing on it.
So she was trying to make sure she had the right person,
Yes, sir.
right? What happened next? Where did you go?
I was walking back to just trying to get back to the car.
As you were walking to your car, were you watching the officer in the front entrance, or were you looking somewhere else?
Overruled. He said objection leading, I said overruled. Go ahead.
What direction were you looking as you were walking to your car?
I was walking, facing, going towards the car, but I kept looking back.
Okay? And I earlier said, I asked you if something got your attention, and you said it did. What was it that got your attention? The next thing that happened,
Miss Clayton, I heard her say, get on the ground.
okay?
And then, again, I'm still trying to get back to the car. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
You want me
okay,
to
go
tell- I
ahead.
didn't know if you wanted me to. So as I'm going back to the car, I heard her say, get on the ground. And then Mr. Loyd ran behind, pushed his basket and ran behind a pillar.
Now, you saw all of this.
Yes, sir.
Where were you in relation to your vehicle at the time?
By then, I was close to my vehicle, but I wasn't at my vehicle at that time.
Right? Now, was anything obstructing your view from where you were? Of what you
Not
just
at that
described?
time.
Okay. So you said you saw him push his basket to the cart,
Yes, sir.
right? And did you see which direction he ran?
To the left,
Which would have been away from you,
yes.
all right? And do you know if Lieutenant Clayton had her gun out at that point?
No, sir.
You don't know,
No, sir.
all right? At that point, did you see anything in Mr. Loyd's hands?
Not when he ran behind the pillar.
All right? What happened, or what did you observe after he ran behind the pillar?
When he came back from behind the pillars when I saw a gun in his hand.
Did you see a gun in Lieutenant Clayton's hand at that point?
No, sir.
All right. You don't know that she didn't have one, you just didn't see it,
I just didn't see.
okay?
Sir.
Were you able to see anything that indicated whether Mr. Loyd was firing his weapon?
Yes,
What did you see?
I saw the gun in his hand.
Okay?
I heard the shots.
You heard the shots.
Yes.
How many shots do you remember hearing to the best of your recollection?
I can't tell you a number.
Was it more than one?
Yes.
Right. When you heard the shots, what did you do?
I got on the ground.
So you say on the ground, picturing the parking lot, were there cars around you?
Yes, sir.
Did you go flat to the ground or just squat
I
between
just
them?
squatted down.
Right? Was your nephew still with you?
Yes.
And your son was in the car?
Yes.
Did you notice anyone else around you in the parking lot?
There were other people. Yes, sir.
Do you know how many?
Close to me, there was only one.
And who was that person?
I don't know their name.
Black, white, Hispanic,
Black.
male or female?
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. You went to the ground. Did you hear more shots after you ducked?
Yes.
Again, do you remember how many shots you heard?
No, sir.
At some point, did the shots stop?
Yes, sir.
What did you do when the shots stopped?
I got up.
And when you got up, what could you see?
Markeith Loyd,
Where was he?
standing over. It was close to if you want me to tell the location, close by in front of the store.
And you say the front of the store. Where was it in relation to the exit where he had come out and you had come out?
Coming out in front of the exit.
Directly in front?
I don't remember exactly.
Okay. But closer to that entrance and
Yes,
exit?
sir.
Yes, ma'am. So my initial question was, what did you see? Where was Mr. Loyd in relation to the officer?
standing over her.
right? And the shooting had stopped at that point, or was it still going on,
It was stopped.
right? And then what did you see next happen,
One more shot.
right? Could you see if the officer was moving at all?
No, sir. I couldn't see her laying on the ground at that time. I couldn't.
Because of your position, you couldn't see all the way to the ground,
No, sir.
right? After that last shot, what did Mr. Loyd do?
I got back down on the ground.
You heard the last shot?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever pop up again?
Yes.
And what did you see when you popped up the second time?
Miss Clayton laying on the ground and Mr. Loyd was gone.
He was gone?
Yes.
Did you see which direction he had gone?
No, sir.
Can I have a moment, Your Honor?
You may.
That's all the questions I have, Ms. Bryant. Thank you very much. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Cross.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
You were interviewed twice at the scene, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And as a matter of fact, in your first statement that you gave to the police, you didn't say anything about what Sergeant or Lieutenant Clayton said to Mr. Loyd at that time, isn't that right?
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I don't.
Would you like to look at your statement to refresh your recollection?
Yes, sir.
May I approach, Judge?
You may.
Can I see that, counsel?
I asked her a question, she said she wants to refresh your recollection. This is the same from the beginning. I'm showing her the entire statement. This is one beginning, we discovered. May I approach the witness, Judge?
You may.
Get that, ma'am.
Okay.
That's the first statement you gave. When you're done, just let me know.
I'm done.
Have you had a chance to review that statement, ma'am?
Yes, just now.
Okay.
You're giving it to me.
Your recollection about the question I asked you, about that you did not tell the police that Lieutenant Clayton said to get down or anything like that?
They didn't ask me.
Okay, so it's your testimony because they didn't ask you, you didn't give them that information?
I wouldn't say that. It's just so much was going on back then. Some things I honestly, at the time.
I
did
understand.
not.
I understand, ma'am. So there was a second interview. How much time occurred between the first interview and the second interview?
I'm not sure how much time, but it was time for me. I want to say by then I made it home for the second interview, but I'm not sure. But there was enough time.
Okay, so some time passed.
Not a long time, but yes, some time.
Okay. And as a matter of fact, when they came to talk to you, the lead detective, Detective Cadiz, was the one who was conducting the interview. Is that right?
I'm not sure his name.
Now, isn't it true that the second interview occurred in a vehicle, a car?
Yes, sir.
And may I approach the witness, Judge? I just want to show her address without mentioning it.
You can?
I'm going to show you the address on the top of the statement. I don't want to publicly mention it.
Okay.
Can you confirm that? Is that your address?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, two policemen came, talked to you about the event,
Yes, sir.
and you gave a statement too,
Yes, sir.
a second statement.
Yes, sir.
Now, do you remember whether they had any conversation with you before they began recording the second statement?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Well, I don't remember what conversation took place, no, sir.
Okay. Now, you said you viewed the video from both the outside and the inside of Walmart. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you said, excuse me, that your car was parked if Lieutenant Clayton's vehicle was parked, let's say this is the direction it's parked, okay? Walmart's over here. You come and talk to her. Where do you go? Do you go straight down there to your car? Because you said it was to your right.
Coming in the store? If
It's-
I'm coming in the store?
No, this is after you talk to her.
Okay.
Now, you already left your child in your car, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then you came back and talked to her.
He was already in the car before I went inside.
Right, so he was in the car already.
Yes.
You were by yourself.
No, I was not. I was with my nephew.
So your nephew was in the car?
No, my son was in the car. My nephew
Okay.
was with me.
So where did you walk after you left her car?
After I left her car, I went kind of a little towards my right to go back to my vehicle.
Okay, so if her car's facing this way, and you're facing that way to go to the parking lot,
Yes.
you go to your right?
Yes.
And you saw yourself on the video?
Yes.
Okay. With your nephew?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you're aware, in looking at the video, that there's a big tree, a big bush on the swale between the parking lot and the area where her car was.
There's a
There-
space between the parking lot and where her car was.
Right.
There's like a space where cars to come through between where she was parked. She was parked kind of under where the stores, however the position of Walmart is, not in the parking lot.
No, I understand, but as you cross that street, that immediate street, to go to where the cars are, where your car is,
Yes.
right there, almost even or close to where her car is, the big tree and a bush
I don't remember.
Okay. You told them in the first statement that,
Objection, improper impeachment.
Sustain.
isn't it true that when you saw his gun and you saw her gun, you got down?
You said, is it true when I saw the guns I got down?
Isn't it true?
I'm not sure. No, I didn't get down. I'm not sure. Can you say that again?
Isn't it true that when you saw his gun and you saw her gun, you got down?
I don't, at that time, no, honestly, I mean, it's been so long, I don't remember if I saw her with a gun. is what I said.
Okay? You gave a statement under oath to the detectives,
Yes, sir.
the first statement,
Yes, sir.
and you were asked a number of questions. I'm referring to page 4.
Yes, sir.
And you say he pulled his gun out.
Sustain.
The question is okay, and you're,
Objection, improper impeachment.
Sustained.
Judge, I laid the predicate on this.
See the attorneys at the bench, please. All right, folks, I understand you need a break. This is a good time to take one, so go ahead and take a break. Thank you. I'll repeat all of that for the court reporter.
The jury wants to use the bathroom.
All right, folks, this is a good time to take a break, so why don't you take a break now? Now it's on the record. Thanks.
Judge,
Hold on. The jurors in the room. Hold on, Mr. Lemon. I'll let you know when I want to hear from you. All righty. All right, go ahead, Mr. Lennon.
Judge, I would.
Your mic's off, so I can't hear a word you're saying.
Judge, I would just ask if we're going to argue this, not sidebar, then I'd ask the witness be excused for the purposes of this argument.
That's granted. Ma'am, if you could step off the witness stand, you can't talk to anyone about your testimony. You'll just step out in the hallway. We'll call you back in a minute. She out? Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Linneman.
Yeah, Judge, the rules of evidence, as the court pointed out, allow impeachment for a prior inconsistent statement. Although there is no question here because there's a continuing conversation and the predicate before is okay, like he's allowing her to talk, she gives the exact statement that I'm impeaching her for. She doesn't say she doesn't remember, she says she never gave that.
This is one of those weird situations where we're halfway between refreshing a witness's recollection and impeaching. The fact of the matter is, what the witness is saying on the stand is not that he didn't have a gun, that the officer did not have a gun. She's saying, I don't remember, which is different than, no, she didn't have a gun, or no, I didn't see the gun. All she's saying is, I don't remember. I'm thinking out loud right now.
I don't actually
So
think she said that, Judge.
Yes, she does. That's why I was over here looking at it.
Not on direct.
Hold on. I have it. Well, on cross. You can't go back to direct.
I understand.
To ask her to try and impeach her now. Here's what her answer is. The question was from you. Isn't it true that when you saw his gun and you saw her gun, you got down? Answer, I don't. At that time, honestly, I mean, it's been so long, I don't remember if I saw her with a gun. So the witness isn't saying she didn't. She's saying she saw her, which would put this into refreshing her recollection, not impeachment, because she's not giving a contradictory answer. All she's saying is, I don't remember. So
Okay.
I'm going to direct you to show her the statement, let her read through it, and see what she said that first time, since what I stand by, in impeachment, you don't have to show them the statement, but I actually think this is refreshing recollection.
Okay.
So let's let the jury take a break. Why don't the attorneys take a break? It'd probably be, 10 minutes? Then we'll bring the witness back on the stand. You can show her the statement. All right.